The iPhone 17 hasn't even been announced yet, but it's already making headlines for all the wrong reasons. For months, leaks have trickled in about Apple's next major release, but now, things are getting out of hand. What was once a slow drip of information is turning into a flood, and not in a good way. And the worst part? Much of what we're hearing is bad news. With the fall launch still months away, expectations were high. People were hoping for something revolutionary. But instead, what we're seeing are warning signs. Not only are there questionable changes coming to the iPhone 17, but several of Apple's other key products might be going through a similar transformation. Some exciting, others deeply concerning. Let's start with something you probably didn't expect. Apple is reportedly working on a brand new product, something that blends two familiar devices into one, the Apple HomePad. No, not HomePod, the smart speaker Apple already makes. This is different. The HomePad is rumored to be a hybrid between a HomePod and an iPad, a screen that lives in your home, that acts as a hub for everything. Smart devices, music, video, communication, and Siri. Yes, Siri. That brings us to one of Apple's longest-running problems. Internally, Siri has been a source of frustration for years. No matter how many times Apple tries to improve it, the voice assistant keeps falling behind. Other platforms, especially those powered by modern AI, have evolved far beyond what Siri can currently do. Apple knows this, and behind the scenes, it's causing real problems. So much so that no one inside Apple even wants to work on Siri anymore. It's become that toxic. But there might finally be a solution, or at least a new person to blame if things don't get better. Enter Mike Rockwell. You may have seen him during the launch of the Apple Vision Pro, but behind the scenes, he's been deeply involved in some of Apple's most ambitious projects. He was the man behind the Vision Pro, Apple's $3,500 headset that left people shocked not just by the price, but by what it could actually do. And now he's been put in charge of Siri. This might not seem like a big deal, but it is. Because Mike Rockwell is known inside Apple as a fixer, a builder, someone who takes rough ideas and turns them into real, polished products. Apple is hoping he can do for Siri what he did for Vision Pro. Turn it from a joke into a category leader. That won't happen overnight, and it definitely won't be easy, but it's a sign Apple is finally taking Siri seriously again. But Rockwell isn't alone. There's a clear shift happening at Apple. A new generation of leaders is stepping forward, and the old guard is slowly moving aside. You probably know the names Tim Cook, Craig Federighi, Phil Schiller, Johnny Ive, but you may not know Alan Dye. He's another executive Apple is pushing into the spotlight. He's been called the father of the dynamic island, the interactive display feature introduced on the iPhone 14 Pro. He's also rumored to be the brain behind upcoming design changes like liquid glass, a rumored new material that could change the feel and durability of Apple devices. Inside Apple, some are calling him the next Johnny Ive, a bold comparison, but one that shows how much faith the company has in him. If you're a fan of Apple's design-first philosophy, Alan Dye is someone to watch. Another key figure rising within Apple is John Ternus. If you watched any of Apple's recent Mac announcements, you might have noticed something strange. Tim Cook was barely there. Instead, Ternus led the charge, unveiling all of the new hardware. Apple doesn't make these decisions by accident. They're showing us who's next, who's going to carry the company forward as the face of Apple's next era. While the iPhone 17 is the main focus, it's not the only thing coming this fall. Apple has a few more tricks up its sleeve. One of the most anticipated is the Apple Watch Ultra 3, and this one might be a game changer. We're hearing about a few major improvements. First, the obvious: faster Apple Silicon, thinner bezels, and a brighter display. All expected upgrades. But the more exciting news is satellite connectivity. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 could be able to make calls, send messages, and share your location without a phone connection at all. If true, that would make it the most independent Apple Watch yet. Ideal for athletes, adventurers, and anyone who wants to leave their phone behind without going totally off the grid. Apple's also reportedly working on health upgrades for the watch. For years, there's been talk of blood glucose monitoring. That's still on the table, but now we're hearing Apple is shifting its focus to hypertension tracking. That means being able to measure blood pressure trends without a cuff, just by wearing your Apple Watch. It won't give you an exact number, but it could tell you if your blood pressure is trending upward or downward. Enough to give you a heads up before things get serious. But maybe the most exciting new product isn't a watch or a phone. It's the AirPods Pro 3. Yes, a new generation of AirPods Pro is coming. And this time, Apple might actually justify the Pro name. The AirPods Pro 2 were fine. Good sound, better noise cancellation, but not groundbreaking. AirPods Pro 3 might finally break the mold. First, we're hearing they could shrink in size. Apple might follow in Samsung's footsteps with a smaller, more ergonomic bean design that fits snugly inside the ear. This would make them more discreet, comfortable, and ideal for extended wear. But the real upgrades are in the tech. The AirPods Pro 3 are expected to come with a built-in heart rate sensor. That means you'd be able to track workouts and health stats just by wearing your earbuds. No watch required. For people who don't like wearing smartwatches or fitness bands, this could be a huge deal. It's a whole new category of health tracking. On top of that, Apple might finally let users customize noise cancellation. Instead of just toggling it on or off, you'd have a slider, like a volume control, that lets you dial in the exact level of noise cancellation you want. Whether you're on a flight, in a crowded cafe, or just walking outdoors, you'd get total control over your listening environment. These changes would make AirPods Pro 3 feel less like an upgrade and more like a reinvention. And with competition from Beats, Sony, and Bose heating up, Apple needs to make sure its flagship earbuds are worth the premium. So, while there's a lot of attention on the iPhone 17 right now, and rightly so, Apple is planning much more than just a new phone. They're redefining their ecosystem. New leadership, new devices, new strategies. But as exciting as some of this is, not all the news is good. Because when we start talking about the iPhone 17 Air or the iPhone 17 Slim, that's where things get tricky. That's where the bad news really starts. But we'll get into all of that in section 2 of this video. Stay tuned, because what Apple is planning next might not be what you were hoping for.